going to cut the onion into rings like this. After they're in your rings, you're going to put them in a pan and saute them with some olive oil. Pour it all over it. And a quicker way to make them turn brown faster is to add sugar in it, but we're not going to do that. So after the onions are nice and brown and caramelized, you're going to add 2 cloves of minced garlic, like this. It's crushed up. Add it in there so it's sizzling. And you're going to let that saute for about a minute. And stir it. Okay, so after you add the garlic, you're going to add flour, about 2 tablespoons, and let that saute for another minute. Okay, after that, you're going to add half a cup of red wine. And that sizzles a lot. Okay, and finally you're going to take your beef stock and just pour it in gently because it's hot. And one of the easier ways to make beef stock is taking crushed up bouillon cubes with some hot water and just adding it in and letting it melt. Real beef stock is crushed up beef bones and you let it like marinate in the water, but that takes like a long time. So we're just going to do it the fast way. So we're going to ladle the soup into the bowls.
Beaucoup d'oignons, s'il vous plaît.
After that, we're going to cut the bread with a carving knife. So we're going to take the baguette and cut it to pieces. The traditional way to eat French onion soup is to put a piece of bread floating on top of the onion soup, sprinkled with cheese. After that, we're going to take the soups and put them in the oven and let the cheese and the bread melt and get nice and brown for 10 minutes. Coated it in olive oil, and now we're going to tenderize it with a tenderizing fork. So you're just going to poke holes in it right here, so all the flavor can seep into the meat. And the better quality the meat is, the less you have to tenderize it, so this you don't have to do it that much. After that, we're going to add some cracked pepper, couple pinches of salt. Turn it over and do that to the other side too. Your filet mignon is all seasoned. Then we're going to put in some olive oil, and it's sizzling hot. And we're putting in the filet mignon, so you're taking your tongs. And it's so hot that once you put it in, it sears in all the juices. So you do the other one. You can see that all the steam and everything is popping up. So I'm going to set the timer for a minute. Oh, that's okay, so it's been a minute for this side. We're going to flip it over. You have to be very careful because it's so hot. You can see that this has already gotten like that nice tough texture that you want. It's going to be nice and juicy on the inside. Set the timer for a minute. And that's just going to let the juices on the other side sear in too. After that, you're going to reduce the heat to a medium temperature. Like that. And you're going to take your red wine, and it can be any red wine that you want. Just pour it all over. So next you're going to take a little bit of balsamic vinegar on each thing. For 4 minutes each side. Take off the lid. It's nice and hot. I'm going to put it on 2 warm plates. So that's how you serve it. And drizzle the sauce over it.
Merci. À vos santé.
Nice and tender. Juicy.
Très bien. C'est Perrier, non? Perrier?
Sparkling water.
Perrier.
For the dessert, we're making mousse au chocolat, and we're just gonna boil the chocolate or melt it with some hot water under here. Then while that's melting, we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna get 6 egg whites, but I already did 2, so we're just gonna do 4. So you crack it right here. And as the egg white spills out, I'm just gonna get all of it out. And then put the yellow part of the egg or the yolk in there. To whip it with a whisk. so it has a thick consistency to it. So that's enough whipped, and you can see that it has right here like a foam consistency, and then when you go like this, it has stiff peaks, which is what you want. This has a nice fluffy air texture. Pour a little bit of the orange whipped vodka from France. And just a tablespoon. Pour it in. And mix it thoroughly with the hand mixer. I'll put that aside, and next I'll take my melted chocolate that I got, and I'll pour it into the egg yolk that I just extracted from the egg white. Soaked up in the chocolate, and it's getting harder and harder to mix. You can see that the yellow is going away, and then you can see more of the brown melted chocolate. To bring it over here, pour it in the glasses. After I add the whipped cream topping, it has to set in the fridge for 15 minutes and cool. Okay, so we're going to shave off some chocolate for the top of the mousse, and we're just going to use regular Hershey's chocolate. So I'm just going to take a regular steak knife and make shaves lightly.